Here we have Darth Strider in the SuperPershing and Kanzo in the other tanks that will be fighting against the SuperPershing. I am coaching Darth Strider on how to play the SuperPershing at the moment, so he'll have some of my strategies anyway. And as you can see, Kanzo has flanked around. So this is a medium distance encounter, which is not a very great idea for the medium tank. However, the VK3001P is not incredibly fast, and it's not great at circling other tanks. But Kanzo's trying his best. We can see that Kanzo is coming in, and he's going to close the distance. However, Darth Strider, well, I'll just call him Strider from now on, he manages to get a second hit in and, well, deal quite a lot of damage to a tier 6 medium tank. Alright, Strider, he's keeping his front armor towards the enemy tank, which is the strongest part of your armor, which you should always do in any tank. And well, it looks like he's firing HE now. Probably toying with Kanzo at the moment, because he's a pretty big tank right now. And right, so Kanzo decided to start tracking SuperPershing, which is actually a valid tactic that you can do to get around him. However, we are playing with no use of consumables at the moment. We don't really want to waste 3,000 credits for training battles anyway. And as you can see, shooting the turret ring still works. I think he's using the 75mm. I think Kanzo is using the 75mm cannon, which has 150mm of penetration at the moment. It's not a bad idea, actually. And you can see Kanzo's aiming at the commander's hatch, and the commander actually got hit. However, he gets taken out. Now we have SuperPershing versus SuperPershing. It should be an interesting battle, as, well, they're both slow. They both have a relatively low penetration cannons compared to other tier 8 tanks. And, well, spaced armor to contend with, so let's see how they duke it out. Strider is taking the initiative by firing. I don't think I guess it's all down to luck at this point, whether he hits Kanzo or not on the move like that. Kanzo manages a bounce on his commander's hatch, while Strider moves forward towards some cover. Alright, well, they both approached the cover, and aha, so Strider has managed to track Kanzo in a compromising position. What's this? Kanzo switched to HE to, I don't know, get some damage in, I suppose. So I'm telling Strider here to actually show off some more of the armor instead of just destroying him by tracking continuously. And now we can see that the cannon has been damaged. Although at close range you're still going to be able to hit fairly well. So a little bit of strategy for Kanzo would have been to actually reverse out of there, keep his front armor pointing at Strider, and try to use the distance to throw off the aim, because the cannon is damaged. Although he probably doesn't know the cannon is damaged, so one of the perks will tell you that if you have that. And we can see Strider has actually started shooting into the cheeks right underneath the spaced armor, and it's going straight through. Little side scraping is being done as well. Strider just tried to take a shot into the machine gun port. Didn't quite get the aim in. However, the side of the tank is only 76mm, so that takes him out. Now we've got the Lion versus SuperPershing, and we'll see what's two slow tanks. However, one has, well, the Lion has quite a bit more penetration than the SuperPershing, and should be able to go through some of the thicker parts of the armor. Difference is, well, the SuperPershing has a pretty good rate of fire, which means a Strider can take 2 shots for every 1 shot that Kanzo takes against him. And as you can see, 1 damaging shot against the SuperPershing, 2 for the line. Well, now it's 3 versus 2, and Strider is trying to take advantage there, but Kanzo is rotating his hull around to make it a little bit more difficult to hit. Strider's managed to track on the line, and really it's a viable tactic for any slow tank to track them and then make fun of them, which is why you should always have a 100% repair crew. It's always great to repair your tracks within, I don't know, 5 to 3 seconds. 3 seconds I think is if you have a toolbox at the same time. And as you can see, Strider's down to a little bit more than a third of his health. Now it's IS-3 versus SuperPershing. You can see that Strider's always taking a shot in just for luck. And even though the IS-3 has a rated armor stat on the front of 110, I believe, it is a piked nose, and that means pointing the IS-3 straight at the enemy makes it incredibly difficult to penetrate his front armor. Although Kanzo is trying to circle Strider at the moment, he gets blocked a little bit right there, and Strider's trying to track him once again. Didn't quite manage it this time around, and now Kanzo is being incredibly aggressive with the IS-3, which is exactly what you should be doing with it anyway. However, he is getting a bit stuck right there on some of the terrain. Well, both of them are. Alright, now the side armors, well, a little bit of fancy maneuvering there, and Strider manages to set the IS-3 on fire. Haven't really seen that happen too many times. However, you can see that because of the higher rate of fire, tracking enemy tanks in compromising positions is a good way to go. As long as they don't have a repair case or incredibly fast repair crew. There we go, taking down an IS-3 and a SuperPershing, 1-on-1. Alright, so we can see that the SuperPershing works quite well at long ranges, at least the speed armor does. And although the cannon has a really low penetration, you can hold a stock of premium rounds, and since it's a premium vehicle, you should be able to make back or at least even out your credit earnings when firing premium rounds. The main problem is the .38 accuracy of the SuperPershing, which means there are plenty of German tanks that can snipe out your weak points at range. So, SuperPershing actually works quite well in a city as long as you are able to protect your weak points. Obviously, shaking your turret around and rotating your hull at the same time prevents enemy players from actually aiming into your weak points as easily. However, there is, of course, luck involved. They can just fire and then hit you anyway. They could be firing premium at you, which is what some people are doing. HE, of course, they don't really have to aim their HE cannons at you, so they'll do about 300 damage if they're using a 152mm cannon that the Russian Su-152 employs, as well as the KV-2. Hopefully this video helps SuperPershing drivers brawl a little bit better in close quarters combat. Obviously you're not expected to win every brawl against an IS-3, which is actually an incredibly good brawling heavy tank. And there are, of course, other tanks as well that do this quite well. Tier 9 tanks, well, it's really... if you have other players assisting you, you can't really take on a tier 9 tank by yourself unless he's a complete and utter useless driver that has reached tier 9 by playing 10,000 games with, I don't know. I've seen some of those guys around though, so yeah, you may find some around that you could just utterly destroy with a SuperPershing. Thanks for watching, please press that like button and leave some comments. I'll see you in future videos.